Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with the Arbys president, Hala Moddelmog, to discuss the Arbys franchise opportunity and some of the exciting events taking place at Arbys. And that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with the Arbys president, Hala Moddelmog, to discuss the Arbys franchise opportunity and some of the exciting events taking place at Arbys. Hi, Hala. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Hala. My family has been such big fans of Arbys for such a long time, so it's such a privilege to have you on the show. We always like to ask our guests where you're calling from today, Hala.
I am calling from Atlanta, Georgia, which is the home base for the Arbys system, and I'm always thrilled when I hear that people, and especially their whole families, love Arbys, because that's what we like to hear. You know, we've been around for close to 50 years, and we have a lot of fans out there like you.
It's amazing, Hala. I'm not sure if everyone knows that Arbys has been around for over 50 years, and you know that's a pretty big milestone in franchising, isn't it?
Well, it really is, and I guess we're not quite to 50 years. We were in 1964, and it is a milestone, though, and it's been a brand that is without a doubt an iconic brand in America. And our hat logo, you may be interested to know, I just think it's a fun fact, that it is the second most recognized logo in America after McDonald's and Coca-Cola. So it's pretty amazing.
That's incredible, isn't it? I teach for Kaplan University, and we talk a lot about brand recognition and all those sorts of topics. And I think it was like almost like 90%, wasn't it, or 95%?
I think it's more like 96%. It's pretty amazing that people.
That's amazing.
In America can recognize the logo, the hat logo, without the word Arbys in there. It just has that much recognition. And if you teach branding in college, you know how important that is.
Oh, absolutely, most definitely. Your background is amazing. It would be hard to talk about, your background and experience in 2 minutes, but maybe you could talk a little bit about, your background, what you were doing before your role as president of Arbys, Hala.
Well, I'll try to make this quick. My first job out of graduate school was with Arbys back in 1981, and this is my third time at Arbys. But in between that time and becoming president of Arbys, I spent about 12 years with Church's Chicken and was president there for about 10 years. And then I took a stint for a little over 3 years in the nonprofit world and was very proudly the president and CEO of Susan G. Komen for the Cure, which is the breast cancer foundation working to eradicate breast cancer.
And you've done some amazing things with that organization. You wouldn't know this. I'm the faculty advisor for the Kaplan University Collegiate Entrepreneurs, and we've referenced your videos on YouTube, Transformational Leadership. You have a video on running a successful nonprofit. So our students have actually used that video. So you've done some amazing things with that organization. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. It's an important cause.
It sure is, absolutely. Arbys has an amazing history, Hala. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, what's happened over the 5 decades that you've been in business.
Well, did you say 2 minutes? Because 5 decades, I'm teasing you.
That's true, right?
I think I'd rather, right now, frankly, talk about the last couple of years because...
Sure, that's fine, absolutely.
The good news for our brand is we're on our 9th consecutive quarter of comp sales increases, and we're very excited about that. We have some incredible new products, the hot turkey roasters. Roast beef is our core, and one of the things that, believe it or not, about 50% of our customers don't really know is that we slice every sandwich freshly for you. It's freshly prepared right there for you. We roast in the oven, and we slice it right there for you. So roast beef is our core. We've been doing that, as we said, for almost 50 years. But recently we've really put a focus on turkey because we also slice our turkey freshly in the restaurant every day, and we have the ability to serve a hot turkey sandwich. And we've had great success. One of the products that people love is our Grand Turkey Club, and it's served with thinly sliced warm turkey. And then we also have our cool turkey sandwiches that have been featured on our Market Fresh for many years. So we're doing a lot of new things menu-wise, and one that I just cannot help mentioning because it is so delicious is our molten lava cake. And it is chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. And when you walk into the restaurant, sometimes you can smell them baking, and you've just got to have one.
These shows are tough for me. I always made sure I ate breakfast this morning because it was very painful. I told my wife we're going to have to go to Arbys today, so it's something. You're also, Arbys is testing a new restaurant design layout in select markets, Hala. What does Arbys hope to achieve with the new look and feel?
Well, we certainly are, and one of the things, quite frankly, that we're hoping to achieve is a sort of a modern and fresh look. As we've talked about, Arbys has been around for a long time. We have some, beautiful buildings out there. We have some that, frankly, need to be refreshed and remodeled. So we've come out with something called the Tower Design, and it's really a beautiful building. And we're gonna remodel 2 full company markets this year, and then get the results out for our franchisees to remodel. And the building, we have 3 complete right now, and we've all been to visit them. They look tremendous. The sales increases are fabulous. And they do 2 things. Or 3 things, really. They give us a more modern look. They raise our visibility from the outside, and they have a lot of freshness cues on the inside, because we want to remind people that we do our slicing, every day in the restaurant, and we want to remind people that our vegetables they don't come out of a bag like some of our competitors.
Right.
We are slicing our lettuce in the bag and slicing our tomatoes, and we have all these beautiful, colorful freshness cues going on in our new remodel as well.
One of the lessons we've been doing this show 6 years now, Hala, and one of the lessons we kind of emphasize to our listeners is to look towards the leadership. And Arbys recently made several changes to its leadership team. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when we were bought by Roark Capital, which is a great private equity owner of many, many brands, I think they own at least 26 brands, and a lot of those are in food. So we were thrilled to be purchased by Roark because they really focus on brand building. So when they bought us in July 2011, we wanted to put the investment in really having the right team. So we have brought on 2 industry veterans who are known and have done phenomenal jobs for us, one being George Condos is our COO. George came out of the Dunkin' brands, the Dunkin' Donut brands, and also Russ Klein as our Chief Marketing Officer, and he came out of Burger King and was there during their most successful run in the last few years. The other thing that we got in the bargain is that we were able to get John Luther as the chair of our board, and John is, as he says, I think he says he's been in this business for about 45 years, and he, is the chair also of Dunkin' Brands and has just had a lot of experience. So we feel very fortunate that John is on our team as well. So we, with the help of a couple of key guys at Roark and our new team, we feel very good with our leadership team.
And it's so important, isn't it? When someone's considering buying a franchise, as we always emphasize, to look towards the leadership and who's running the organization. In order to overcome obstacles to growth, Hala, particularly the ongoing credit crunch, restaurant executives are focusing their efforts on attracting multi-unit and multi-brand operators with strong cash flow to not only open new units but purchase established corporate stores to help revitalize and remodel stagnant locations. Has Arby's been a part of this refranchising trend, so you can say?
Yeah, we absolutely have, and I am thrilled to report that our first 2 refranchising acts were with not only 2 well-known players in the franchise game, but they are certainly, to your point, they're multi-brand and multi-unit franchisees. And not only when we have had them purchase our markets, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them, but in both cases they have purchased our markets, they have signed up to build more restaurants, and importantly, they have signed up to remodel our restaurants in those markets. The first one was to Guillermo Perales out of Dallas. And Guillermo, as a matter of fact, he's here with us today. He has 390 franchise restaurants. So he's got Popeyes, Golden Corral, Burger King, and CC's. So he is very, very well grounded, and he knows how to get remodels done, and he knows how to run the business. So we are thrilled to have him. And then our second big refranchising was to Tony Lutfi. And Tony, I've known Tony since 1981, and he bought Seattle, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. He also is a multi-brand franchisee. He's got 78 franchise restaurants. Again, Arbys, Jack in the Box, Church's Chicken, Sizzler, Little Caesars, and then he also owns 14 Sears home appliance showrooms. So these people that we're bringing into our system are not only well capitalized, they really understand being a franchisee of multiple brands, and frankly, both of them have served in leadership positions for the franchisees in the other brands that they own. So we feel very fortunate.
Our listeners, we call them aspiring entrepreneurs, Hala. They kind of have it in their mind that they know they want to buy a franchise. What does Arbys look for in your prospective franchisees, and who would be your ideal candidate, so you can say?
Well, I love your phrase, by the way, Frenchpreneurs. I think that's great. I'm going to steal that. But
fine.
Our ideal candidate, just to be frank, is someone like Guillermo and Tony, because we know they have the experience and can get the capital. However, that being said, we are interested in helping people fulfill the American dream. Capital is not as easy to get as it once was, but it's out there, and we have relationships with many, many banks to try to help the franchisees get the capital that they need. We have a great team of support for franchisees. So you need someone, I would say, beyond the obvious facts of having the net worth and the capital and the business acumen. It's important to me, and it has been for my whole career, I need someone who loves the Arbys brand because, as people, listening, and as I'm sure you know, this is not an easy business. And I'm not talking about Arbys. I'm talking about, running multiple retail units. It's not easy. There's a lot of work there. And I, for one, cannot be associated with a brand that I don't love, that I don't love the product, and that I don't love what the brand stands for. And I think you need that emotional attachment as well as the business acumen if you really want to be wildly successful.
Well, that's well said. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the locations as far as, what does Arbys look for in a location, and does Arbys actually provide assistance to your new franchisees, Hala?
Yeah, definitely we provide assistance. We've got, a great real estate and construction team, and, we obviously sign off on all the packages because we want to make sure that the real estate that the franchisees are looking to acquire, makes sense for the brand, and we have all sorts of data that support, where they should be looking. Right now, our current focus in the last year or so has been on non-traditional sites. We are very fortunate to be partners with Pilot and Love's and Little Generals, places like that are travel plazas or C-stores that look for us to go in with them. And that has been a focus of ours. And sometimes these groups want to operate their own restaurants, and occasionally they will have a franchisee operate them. And we're also doing a lot of military bases and some of the just more non-traditional, because as I'm sure you and your listeners know, there's an awful lot of food competition out there and competition for sites. So we think that there's, more than one way to skin the cat with the Arbys brand. We're certainly building freestanding restaurants and are excited about it. But we're looking at more inlines, more non-traditional, and making sure we've got, different ways for people to grow.
I read something, too, somewhere, I think that Arbys, was considering even the gas stations, too, Hala. I always thought that was an interesting move for, a lot of the big-name franchises. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work originally, but it seems like those are pretty successful locations, aren't they? So is Arbys considering that as well?
Yeah, definitely. They can be very, very successful. And, that's what I mean when I say convenience stores, that do have gas. I call it C-stores. But anyway, convenience stores that do have gas. And, again, these travel plazas are very successful because, these people are experts at knowing where to build. They know their trucker consumer very well. And then if you are in a location that also serves that community, you've got a double audience. And so some of those are very successful. And to your point, a lot of other major brands are there as well. So we really appreciate and enjoy those relationships, again, with the Pilots of the world, the Loves, the Little Generals, and the chains that have expertise in this area.
Well said. What's the training like for your new franchisees, Hala? I understand it's pretty intense.
Yeah, we have a 6-week training program, and a bit of that is classroom, but the majority of it is in the restaurant, learning, how to run a restaurant. Because, again, I never try to act like running a restaurant is an easy thing, because I think there's a lot to consider. I mean, you've got, obviously, the basics of preparing the products safely and in a craveable, delicious manner for your guests. And then you've got the service component, which is incredibly important to keep people coming back, et cetera. But then you've got the whole back of the house, with the inventory, with the financials, and we like to try to start our franchisees off with a very good knowledge base of the food cost percentage they should be running, the labor percentage they should be running, vis-a-vis all of the benchmarking data that we have. So there's a lot of training that goes on, and in the end, it is, essential that the franchisee take that seriously and really get grounded. And then, of course, we have ongoing training. And then the thing that's the best thing that ever comes is that a franchisee later on can apply to become a training restaurant themselves, so that they can train others and they can train people within their multi-unit network. So, training is key. It's a big part of what we do, and great question.
Where's Arbys looking to expand, Hala? I mean, is it mostly here in the United States? Is it international, or?
It's both. I would say our primary focus is here in the States. We are in 48 states, and we have about 3,400 locations. So we've got a good national mix, but we are most heavily in the Midwest and sort of the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast. So we've got some room to grow on the West Coast, and we'd like to add more restaurants out there. But at the same time, we have a 100-restaurant development agreement in Turkey, and those guys are building hand over fist. They are a fabulous group, and but we're being a little slower on our international growth because we just have so much opportunity here in the States.
What advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise, Hala? It's wonderful to have the opportunity to ask someone like yourself because you've been doing this for a while. So what would you say to them with all these different franchise opportunities out there? Where did they begin?
Well, as I said, and this is going to sound kind of soft, but I would start with a brand that you really do like the product, you like the brand, it's something you can believe in. It's sort of in a sense, kind of the Warren Buffett thing as well. It's like, pay attention to, what people like and what people really feel loyal to. I mean, think about the Arbys brand being around for almost 50 years. There's a lot of history there. It's an iconic brand. It's not like people are not going to know what it is. But, and so think of things in those terms, ask your neighbors and that kind of thing, but make sure that you like the brand and can be proud of the brand. And then, to your point, I would certainly look at the management team and the leadership team and the ownership, and that's one thing that makes me so, proud to be owned by Rourke, because they've got an incredible reputation in building the brands that they've bought over time. And then, of course, goes without saying, you've got to really, study that FDD. You've got to understand the financials. You've got to be realistic about the amount of work that it takes. And, occasionally someone will think that it's easier than it is, and there's less work involved. So I like people who are hungry and eager and excited about the brand they're signing up with.
And Arbys provides, I think it was an item 19 in the FDD too as well, don't they, Hala? with the financials, I should say. All the financial information, which I think is very important.
Yeah, we put in, what the law allows, so to speak, because, there are very strict laws about what you can put in and what you can't. So we put in, the maximum allowed. And then we, just like every other franchisor out there, I would assume, we encourage one to call current franchisees. And there's a list of the current franchisees, I believe, in the FDD, and so they can certainly talk to other franchisees who have more freedom to talk about financials than we do, because we have to be careful that we don't guarantee anybody anything, and you know that, and I think your listeners probably do too.
This way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee and all the different services that Arbys provides. Is there one website they should go to, or is there several websites they should look into? Yeah,
Arbys.com is your best bet. Just simple, no apostrophe, just ARBYS.com. And there, you're going to get all sorts of things about the products and the fun stuff and the social media stuff we're doing. But there's a button on there to go in and dig deep on the franchise piece. So I would love it if everybody would look at that.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you again, Hala. It was a privilege to talk to you and have you on the show, and I'm going to continue following Arbys and following your career. You've had an amazing career.
Thank you so much. It was my privilege to be on your show. So thanks so much for having us.
Thanks so much, Hala. Have a great day, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting franchise interviews now almost 6 years, and during that time, we've had some incredible quotes on the show. Today, you're going to get to hear from Carol Mercurio, and she talks about a subject that we talk frequently on the show, which is following the franchise system. She gives a lot of great other advice in addition to aspiring entrepreneurs, but I just thought her advice was fantastic. So here we go with Carol Mercurio, franchise consultant.
It is, because success means different things to different people.
Right.
You know, there are people that could be very happy making $40,000, $50,000 a year, and there's others that would just never tolerate that. So you have to pick the right opportunity. It's going to meet not just your personal goals, but your income potential as well.
You have to like what you're doing, and most of the time that'll turn into making more money. So.
Oh, definitely. And, the truth is that franchising really isn't for everyone. It's, Michael Gerber, one of your guests who is one of my heroes, so to speak.
Right.
I love his book. I recommend his book all the time.
Yeah.
And as he says, there's a difference between an entrepreneur and what he calls a technician.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and we'll go into that if you want to move forward in
Sure, absolutely. We'll go to the next slide, and that's slide 4, Carol says, that's all great, but...
Do you have what it takes? And,
right.
and that's really what this presentation will help people do. When I do this presentation live, it takes about 2 hours, and, there are people at the end of the presentation will run to the front door and can't get out fast enough. They're scared to death. Or you have those folks that just linger on because they really want to learn more and educate themselves to see if this is the right fit for them. But there's a lot to figure out, before you actually can pull the trigger and make that decision. And as you mentioned just previously, the due diligence is imperative. You have to do a good job of figuring that out. Is it the right connection personally, and are you connecting with a company that you feel is a comfortable marriage between the two of you?
Absolutely. Right.
And so that's what we're going to do, is help determine if this is, in fact, the right path to explore. And then we can move on to motivation.
Okay.
And, for me, I think motivation is really, really a major component of this whole process.
I agree.
If you're not motivated to do this, don't do it. If somebody tells you should do it for a variety of different reasons, but it's not your own passion,
right,
you probably won't do well at it. And, there's two different types of motivation. There's positive motivation and there's negative motivation. So you have to think of it, is it an inspiration? Are you inspired to do this, or are you desperate to do this? There's a big difference here.
Absolutely.
Are you, running from something, or you're running towards something?
Right.
And, for me, I work with a lot of folks that have been downsized, and they're in transition in life, and I certainly can relate to it. But they may go to looking at a business because they can't find a job. Or maybe lesser positions are offered to them, less money, less title, or maybe their severance is about to end and they need to make some decision quickly. Bad choice.
Right.
It's not a good reason to buy a business. It's
like a last resort type of decision. So you can quickly determine part of your services is finding out that motivation level pretty early on.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I won't move forward in our consultation until that candidate can tell me what their reason is.
Right.
And it's not just because, I want control over my destiny. Who doesn't? Everybody does.
That's true.
They want to make more money. Who wouldn't?
Right, absolutely.
It has to go layers deeper than that, or as I look at it, having a burning desire. Or I'll add to that a little pain. If you can't relate to the pain, then there's no reward at the end.
Absolutely.
And going into business for yourself can be painful. With franchising, of course, it's a little bit easier because you have all the support. But it's still, you're starting a business from scratch.
That's
and you
what
have
Marty
to
and I
really
always
want
talk
it.
about. Right.
I'm sorry?
Right. We always talk about that, that there's no guarantee of success, but if you follow the system, work hard, look at the stats we just went over. I mean, the failure rate's so low. And then with getting the right
match,
consultation from someone like yourself, and, you should be okay.
Well, and it's true. And, the systems that are in place with franchising are the major reasons why people gravitate to franchising. But if you're not the personality to follow a system, and you're more of that entrepreneur, as Michael Gerber would say, the best way to describe it is you can't paint the golden arches green.
Right.
It just won't work.
Absolutely.
Either you follow the system and you'll be successful or not. But most importantly, there has to be a motivation. And everyone's motivation is different. The way I help people see things is if you look down the road, say the next 3-5 years from today, how do you see your life being different, if at all?
Right.
What do you want to accomplish? And for some people, it might be doing things that they've just missed doing, like having the freedom to play golf, or having the money to buy a boat and taking their family on it and being with their family and having that quality time that they just don't have in their current world.
That's interesting. So you consider that positive motivation because that's the whole big picture of success in business, working hard, and then having all that personal stuff on the side.
Oh, yeah. What's the end result look like? What is it that you want to accomplish by being in business for yourself? I mean, what is your burning desire? Where is the pain now? I mean, if you look at your current situation today, you know, I'll have people that I'm working with that are making, you know, well over six-figure incomes, and they...
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.